Well, good morning everyone, and welcome to my second video I think I've ever made, so you're going to have to forgive me if it's a bit shaky. Some friends of mine asked me to make a video on my 300 SEL Mercedes W126, so I thought I'd give it a go. Probably, I believe, the best car, or certainly one of the best cars Mercedes-Benz ever made, and the cars they make now don't even rate in comparison, in my opinion. So I'll take you around the body and let you have a look. She's a 1988, and she probably is in, well, I'd say very good to excellent condition for her age. All her body panels are straight and paint's pretty good. So for those people who are watching this in Australia, I live in Albany at the bottom of WA, so hence the A on the number plate. This car was designed by Benz engineer and designer Bruno Stacco, and I think he made a car with incredibly graceful lines. And some people say to me, oh, it must be really expensive to own an old Mercedes, but in my opinion, no more expensive than that thing up there, which is a Holden. Basically, if you look after it, do work as it needs doing and not leave it, it's pretty reasonable to fix. So you can get a lot of parts on eBay and on the net. And there's a guy in America called Ken Brockman in Washington State, I believe, and he's just like my saviour. He is the most amazing man. What he doesn't know about this car, and in fact all of the models that Benz make, isn't worth knowing, and he's just truly incredible. So this is the interior. Excuse the seats, they're just about to get some leather conditioner when I finish here. And while I'm here, I want to cover a couple of things that just annoy me a tad when I see YouTube videos about people talking about certain things in the interior that aren't quite correct. So I just want to correct those on this video. As you can see, it's a long wheelbase, I believe about 4 inches longer than the SE model. So plenty of room inside. So I'll go on the driver's door here. And for the year of this car, it was quite amazing. It has so many features that cars have just started to get in the last few years, so quite incredible. She's done 268,000 Ks, so for this particular motor, probably not a great deal. It doesn't have much in the way of aftermarket at all, except for a reversing camera and a new stereo. Just mainly because I like the idea of being able to have a USB stick in the car. Putting my music on that straight from iTunes is a lot easier. So this is one of the things I wanted to show you that is a pet peeve of mine. Over here is this little switch just right there. Now, in so many videos I see people say, oh, they either say it adjusts the interior lighting brightness, or it adjusts the dash lights. It does neither. It actually adjusts the headlights to basically 3 different settings. There's a vacuum inside the headlights of the car, and you can move this little toggle switch up and down. This, as I say, O for off, 1, 2 and 3, and what that does is moves the, I suppose, the lens inside of the headlamp, and it gives you a different position for those lights on the road at night. So you can have them right down low on the road, up a bit, or sort of quite high up, depending on what suits you best for your driving conditions and I suppose your eyesight. So yeah, it's not a dome light adjuster or anything like that, or adjusting the brightness on the dash. If you want to adjust brightness on the dash in one of these cars, this is the button over here, which we basically have right there, and that pushing it in adjusts the trip meter, and pulling it and sort of turning it either left or right adjusts the brightness of the dash and all of your lights and your center console and windows and so on and so forth. Basically, I don't know if there's a lot else to tell you. Have the sunroof up here, control for the sunroof, which is just there, and that's the sunroof basically. It's a long way back over here, and strangely enough, although I think it's probably bigger inside than my Statesman, it isn't quite as long, and that seems quite a staggering thing, because when you look at it, it looks really long. So I'll just go down here and show you the boot. I believe this colour is called Hurricane Blue, which polishes up absolutely brilliantly. So that's the boot. Never been slept in or used really. And the big triangle. So as you can see, I try to keep it reasonably shiny and clean. Went for a service on Friday, and I had a bill of about $200 and something, and that was with a full service, new filters and bits and pieces done, and a full engine degrease. And this is going in again on Tuesday for a service, and I'll be up for probably pretty much the same price. So there's not a great deal of difference as far as expense goes, and running something like this, incredibly economical. As I said, it's a 300 SEL, so that's the straight 6, very torquey engine, and pretty much what I would say, even to this day, is still a real timeless look, and extremely good looking car, and still turns a lot of heads and get asked a lot of questions. If you are looking at buying one, I'd suggest that you buy the best one that you can possibly afford. You can pick them up for now 3,000–4,000. One at that price, you are probably picking up $5,000 or $6,000 worth of work. So yeah, just be cautious if you're considering buying one and looking at those lower priced ones. I think a good rule of thumb to get a pretty good one that's in good condition, I'd be saying you'd be looking at between 7 and 8–9,000. There's a couple you'll see occasionally that are really low Ks, like 60–70,000 Ks, and they want 10–15,000 for those. Again, paying that sort of money for a car with 68,000 Ks on it that's nearly 30 years old, or in some cases over 30 years old, I think you'd really want to think about that carefully, because just because it's low Ks doesn't mean that things haven't worn out and started to crack, like seals and things like that. So just beware of that. Doesn't necessarily mean low Ks that the car is in better condition than one with higher Ks. I've always said with my cars, it's not the Ks on the clock, it's how it got to those Ks and how it was looked after getting to them. So a car with 260 odd thousand Ks on the clock isn't necessarily a problem if the previous owners have looked after the vehicle and getting it to that, you know, to those kilometres. So I sort of touched earlier on Ken in America. He's on YouTube and he's got his website, Mercedes-Source.com I think it is, and he's just amazing. He has tutorials on absolutely pretty much everything, how to pull apart suspensions and how to do brakes, how to do all sorts of stuff. These cars are actually incredibly easy to work on, especially the 6-cylinder version. There's a huge amount of room in the engine bay and everything's really quite accessible. So you know, I would say to you, if you do look at getting one, I've never been mechanical or anything like that, but with his help I've done a fair few things myself, and you know, voltage regulators, so on and so forth, which these guys are known for. And thanks to Ken, he saved me a heap of trouble, because I thought I'd watched one of his videos and I saw him talking about a voltage regulator. I thought I'd just get one and maybe replace it, and when it came out there was basically nothing left on it, so thanks to him I was saved a real big problem. So anyway guys, that's pretty much it. For those of you who don't know, the 3-pointed star on a Mercedes is said to be, the top point represents the air and the 2 bottom points are land and sea, and that's Mercedes logo, but it represents their desire to dominate all of those elements, and I think they pretty much have over the years. As I said when I started this, I don't think that they make them like this anymore. This is probably the last truly great Benz. It was made by the engineers before the bean counters moved into Mercedes and started dictating how much could be spent on cars and things like that, and the development of them. And so as a consequence, I believe that they lost a certain appeal after the W126, probably the W140, you know, has the potential to become a classic, but certainly I think, you know, that would be the last in the line. So yeah, hopefully if you have any questions, I can attempt to try and answer them or find out the answer for you. So just give me a bell and I'll do my best. Have a great day.